What's going on, fans? This is Kenneth, SBM Boxing. Friend request, subscribe. Let's go ahead and speak some boxing. We're less than a few weeks away from the Maypac fight of the century, the fight that everyone's been waiting on for. Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., May 3rd. We're going to cover it live at the Boxing Genius house. So if you're not going to watch that fight and you want to get live action post-fight, pre-fight, and round for round and want to know what's going on, go ahead and subscribe. But anyways, guys, what are we going to speak about? We're going to speak about Amir Khan, who's going to be his next opponent. A lot of people think that Kell Brook was going to be his next opponent. I would like to see that fight. Everyone would like to see that fight. The whole entire UK would definitely want to see that fight. But is that fight going to happen? Probably not. Everyone loves to see drama. Everyone loves to see hostility. Both camps, both guys just don't like each other. And what better place to square off their differences than the center of the ring? You know, even though that'd be a great competitive fight, I would just want to see what, I want to see them settle their differences. They just don't like each other, Itself, Kell Brook, he beat Jojo Dan. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not sure why so many people are shocked by that. I think it was a great performance. I think it was a good publicity stunt, and I guess it was great for his name and get his name out there and line himself up with the big payday for Kell Brook. I was actually more impressed against Sean Porter. Kell Brook showed a lot of heart. He showed that he can fight at that level, and he showed a lot of versatility in that fight. Put on a great performance, but after the Sean Porter fight, he lined up a Jojo Dan fight. I'm not sure why, but, maybe it was just, he got hacked up with a machete on his thigh and stuff like that. And so Jojo probably thought he could come out victorious on that. So I'm not sure why so many people are shocked. But on Amir Khan fight, that'll definitely be a great fight at welterweight division. But that fight's definitely not going to happen. I'll give it like 1 or 2 years. That's going to be 1 or 2 years out. But anyways, let's go ahead and speak about Amir Khan, who's going to be his next opponent. He actually announced who's going to be his next opponent on his wife's YouTube channel. He said he was going to take on May 30th, possibly the Barclays Center in New York, the WBO lightweight welterweight champion. Who's that? That's Chris Algieri. Who's Chris Algieri? In November, Chris Algieri is that opponent that struck fame when he cashed out and fought Manny Pacquiao. He got the Willy Wonka chocolate golden ticket when he beat Prodnikov. There's been a lot of fighters that have stepped up, a lot of fighters that have been calling out, like a Keith Thurman, that have not been able to win the Willy Wonka ticket, that have not been able to, that have been victorious back to back to back, great victories, and they still did not get the Willy Wonka ticket. So I think Chris Algieri, I'm sorry, that shit was a big setup by Bob Arum. That's all a big fucking setup. But anyways, this guy, Chris Algieri, beat Prodnikov, which I think Prodnikov won that fight. Long story short, judges thought it was completely different. November, his next fight, he stepped into the ring undefeated against the number 2 or number 1 is definitely debatable. But as of Ring Magazine, okay, number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world is Manny Pacquiao. He definitely lost to Manny Pacquiao at catch weight, even though Chris Algieri's first fight ever at welterweight, he fought Manny Pacquiao. Chris Algieri's first fight ever at welterweight, he fought Manny Pacquiao. I'm not sure how. Anyways, I just get bothered by even talking about stuff like that. But anyways, yes, Amir Khan's definitely going to step into the ring against him. Like I said, he's looking to take on Chris Algieri on May 30th. Both fighters are evenly matched as far as height, weight, and stuff like that. I like the fact that Amir Khan has been getting better and better with the Virgil. Virgil Hunter's been working with him. Virgil Hunter. There's been a big transition between Freddie Roach and Virgil Hunter. I know Freddie Roach has been with Amir Khan, and he's been seen as more of an offensive, explosive approach with Freddie Roach, and after the Danny Garcia loss, he's worked with Virgil Hunter. Every single fight, he's getting better and better and better. Psychologically, he's there. He's solid. He moved up in welterweight. He was able to carry the weight, look very, very good, very, very explosive. His endurance is there. His power is up, and he's defensively tuned. Something that we didn't see in Amir Khan versus Danny Garcia fight. We've seen Amir Khan just be nothing but an explosive, fast opponent. He was just able to walk through a lot of opponents, just overwhelming them with their speed. But any counter puncher, such as a Danny Garcia was able to counter him, and he's been having troubles with that. But Virgil Hunter was making him a more complete fighter. I like the fact that he was able to step in. I know a lot of people thought his jaw was questionable, his chin is questionable, but Cayasso knocked out Victor Ortiz stepping into the ring. Cayasso thought that he could do a one-hit quitter and knock out Amir Khan. Amir Khan showed that at 147 he can carry the weight and take the technique that Virgil Hunter has been working with him as far as defensively being a little bit more patient, setting himself up and protecting himself and blocking the counter itself. And he's definitely been effective doing so. Completely annihilated Cayasso. Stepped into the ring against Devin Alexander, who's more of a complete fighter. Very, very fast. Very, very strong. Very, very explosive. Very, very experienced. And he's a top contender at the welterweight division. Amir Khan was able to just walk through and put on a clinic itself. So Amir Khan has his options available. Amir Khan doesn't have to go after Kell Brook, even though that fight would definitely be an interesting fight. I personally think Amir Khan will win that fight, but that's just my personal opinion. But who's he going to fight? I think it's a great fight with Chris Algieri, and a lot of boxing fans will be. And then it's one of those things. I know. I'm going to go to George the Boxing Genius house. I'm going to talk to my boys and stuff like that and discuss this. And I just think it's pretty crazy what I'm going to hear. I'm going to hear that Amir Khan's been ducking and dodging. Amir Khan's a bitch. Amir Khan taking on fucking bum-ass Chris Algieri. My response to that is Chris Algieri's a bum taking on Amir Khan, but it's a brilliant and it's a great opponent when he's taking on Manny Pacquiao. He's good enough to take on Manny Pacquiao for the first time at welterweight. And Manny Pacquiao's at the time was no Amir Khan. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. are the top guys at welterweight. So if Chris Algieri was good enough and Brandon Reels was good enough, then why Amir Khan, vice versa? Amir Khan, that should be a legitimate opponent. Stylistically, I think that would be a great fight. As far as reach, height, Chris Algieri is a boxer. He's very, he's sleek and he runs around the ring. He's more of a boxer, and I think that would be a great fight for him. As far as my fight prediction in that fight, I completely disagree with Amir Khan. Amir Khan labeled him as a Class A fighter. Why? Because he's fought decent opponents. Okay, let's backtrack. Yes, Manny Pacquiao, great opponent, and got completely annihilated and never got out the cage when was never able to get out of the cage like his trainer said. In the Pacquiao fight. So yes, he fought Manny Pacquiao. There's a big difference. If you fight Manny Pacquiao and the shit was competitive, yeah, I give you credit for that. If you fight Manny Pacquiao and as predicted, you get your ass whooped, which he did, that doesn't mean you're an A-class fighter just because you got your ass whooped. No, that's obvious. And then, okay, he fought Protnikov, and Protnikov is definitely not an A-class fighter. Protnikov has heart, he has a lot of power, but he's definitely far from an A-class fighter. And he got his ass with that fight, and he got dropped that fight, and it was a very, very close fight. I actually had Protnikov winning that fight, but Protnikov is more of a B-C fighter, and you lost that fight. So I'm not sure why Amir Khan, maybe he's just selling that fight, but itself, it's definitely not Chris Algieri is far from a A-class fighter. How do I see that fight playing out? I think Amir Khan's not going to knock out Chris Algieri. I think Chris Algieri is just going to get schooled, and he's going to take it to the scorecards. I think Chris Algieri has chin, he has heart. He's going to fight all 12 rounds. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to predict. If it's easier. It's a different fighter. Chris Algieri is completely different. Chris Algieri kept in as an underdog coming into the Pacquiao fight, coming out victorious. It's easier to fight a fighter coming off a loss than it is a win, and it's definitely gonna carry some weight for Chris Algieri. So we don't know how Chris Algieri is gonna come into the fight. If it's gonna be Chris Algieri that stepped into the ring to Manny Pacquiao, I think it's gonna go all 12 rounds. Other than that, I don't think Chris Algieri, he's a decent fighter. I'm not saying Chris Algieri is a bad fighter. I think for what it is, I think it'll be great, but I don't see Chris Algieri coming out victorious in this fight. I don't see it whatsoever. After the Amir Khan fight, I think the sky's the limit. You know, Amir Khan versus Keith Thurman would definitely be a great fight. Amir Khan versus Kell Brook would definitely be a good fight. Amir Khan versus Timothy Bradley would definitely be a good fight. Amir Khan taking on the winner of Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. would be a great fight. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Amir Khan versus whom? Do you think the Kell Brook fight is going to happen? Do you think Chris Algieri is the legitimate opponent? Anyways, guys, from Chris, subscribe. Have a good one.